So welcome back to another episode of A1A Adventures, helping you with your soft coral green star polyps if they're not coming out. Now, whether you have them in a reef tank and your fish are nipping at them, or your crabs are eating them, or if you have them in a beautiful small nano tank but they are still not coming out because there's not enough flow, then have I got another alternate solution for you. In addition, if you have a frag or whether you have a larger piece of green star polyp that is not coming out, make sure that there's not too much detritus or any leftover food or overgrown algae that's covering the skin of it, which, you know, in my other video, which I'll put a link in the description below, you want to make sure that you clear it very softly and carefully and tactfully with a very soft bristled toothbrush that is sufficient for a baby or a child. A very non-abrasive toothbrush that can get rid of all that gunk and goo, which will prohibit the polyp from actually secreting out. But in a small 5-gallon nano tank like this, where even the smallest wave maker may be too much flow or too much power that you really don't need, I've wrapped mine in filter floss, also to keep the little fish that we have safe from being sucked up and propelled and minced into different little pieces. This is a very important tip that can help your polyps come out. But however, it does have a downside to it, and everything has a cause and effect. And I will get to that towards the end of the video. But we are talking about an aerator, which is a air stone, but we are talking about an aerator. And an aerator will be powered by an air pump. And this is an air pump. Now, the benefits of using this will also alkalize your water, which it does need a certain amount of alkalinity to your tank, as well as make sure to add proper calcium powder, because they do like a certain part per million, which, do your research. If you look it up, it will require a certain amount of parts per million of calcium, as well as some phytoplankton or coral food in which to allow it to feed off of. But more importantly, this does multiple functions. It actually creates a small amount of flow, and it will give them a nice oxygenated but aerated current for them to come out. Now, this pest coral, a lot of people claim, is so easy and it's so infestive into the tank. I beg to differ if the conditions are not optimal. This one is several months old now, and it's doing great with a little maintenance and a little assistance in which you may need to give it. Always make sure the coral's clean. If you would like to put your aerator directly under it, that of course does help, but I've also noticed that even if you have it just placed a little bit towards the side of it, also gives it a good current. But I like to keep mine directly under it and somewhat up towards the light, where it's actually positioned perfectly to have just enough flow and everything it needs to thrive. It was once a little piece of GSP skin, and now it is actually taking over the whole plug, and it is doing very well. So this was just another tip in addition to my other GSP not coming out videos that I've posted in order to help you with your coral problems. This is a great starter coral. Just needs a little bit of TLC and just a couple little ins and outs that not too many people tell you about. And what I've learned personally from dealing with this quote-unquote so easy coral. Everyone says it will infest your tank. Stay away from it. It's a pest coral. I think it's beautiful. When it grows, it looks like similar to grass, but it has not taken over whatsoever in my tank. They also instruct you to, if you are putting it on a rock, make sure it's surrounded by sand, because that will create an island for it not to grow on the sand, nor to grow on the glass or plastics of anything in your tank, which to me, I wouldn't even find that to be a problem. So if your green star polyp still is not coming out the way you'd like it to, once again, check to make sure it is fairly clean. Do not use anything abrasive on it. Brush it very gently. Use salt water to clean it off. Put it back in its tank. Make sure it has just even a little bit of proper flow. If you don't have a power head, or if your filtration system is a little bit not sufficient enough, just add an air stone and everything should be okay. So once again, here's a tip coming from me to you on green star polyps. Enjoy, stay adventurous. As always, A1A Adventures. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I actually do have a playlist pertaining to green star polyps, care, and problems. I will leave a link for that below as well, which are all different videos based on starting out your green star polyp from a frag. Once again, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe this video, and have a great green star polyp adventure.